Lisbon. So Lisbon currently is 85th, ranked 85th globally in the last year, 2020 StartupBlink Ecosystem rankings. And a great vertical for Lisbon is actually software and data, where they rank 41st in the world, which is also way above what their current global rank is. Hi, Joel. Joel, can you hear us?
Hi, I can. Give me just a sec. I'm going to share screen. Sorry, but Zoom was trying to trick me, I guess. Let me know if you're able to see my screen, please. It should be on in a couple of seconds. I'm good? All right, so let me just put this for 8 minutes, so I try not to go overboard. So thank you so much, Catherine and StartupBlink, for having us here. My name is Joao. I work for Made of Lisboa. This is a 100% public project from the City Council of Lisbon. And our job is mostly to articulate the stakeholder interaction in our city. So we don't have the responsibilities of investment attracting as so many of you. And for the next couple of minutes, I would like to give you a bit of an overview of our ecosystem and what's happening in Lisbon. So it's safe to say that in the last couple of years, our ecosystem has been through a big hype. So we went from a country that was going over a bailout roughly 10 years ago to becoming one of the destinations for the startup scene in Europe. So was it always like this? Probably not. As you can see, this is where we were 10 years ago. It's interesting because this year kind of marks the unofficial beginning of the Lisbon ecosystem entrepreneurial system. So these were the incubators operating at the time, and this is not even 10 years, 8 years afterwards. As you can see, there was this whole network that expanded that includes incubators, creative hubs, co-works, accelerators that showed up. So our vision is to enhance and strengthen this ecosystem to transform Lisbon in one of the most competitive, innovative, and creative cities in Europe. So a brief overview of our city, and this is kind of the, let's say, the boring part of the presentation, the numbers. So these are pre-COVID numbers. We have around 336,000 companies in town. So that's roughly 29% of the companies in the country. We have 18 incubators, although there's incubation programs that are on a national scale, as Portugal is quite a small country. We have 10 creative hubs, and our flagship event is the Web Summit that has a 10-year contract with the City Council and the government here in Portugal. So we still have, if I'm not mistaken, 8 editions more to go. In terms of diversity, we have around almost 300,000 expats living in Lisbon, and that was a growth. So this growth doesn't apply to 2020, obviously, it's from 2019. And the biggest, I just want to highlight this, the biggest community of expats that we have in town is Brazilian citizens. So that also reflects on a national scale. In terms of knowledge and universities, we have so we have around 145,000 students, undergrads coming out of colleges, and out of those, roughly 25,000 are from international backgrounds. This has been an effort that the city has been doing for the last couple of years to attract more foreign students here. And in terms of let's say what we call the quality of living here, you know, we have almost 300 days of sunshine, and prior to COVID, we were having 51 new companies being created per day. So the reason why, or one of the big reasons is why so many people are flocking to our city is what we call the quality of life. So normally you will see Lisbon ranking up in the digital nomad scene. And this is due to some of the reasons that some of the other ecosystems have played out today. We're one of the safest countries in the world, and Lisbon is not an exception. You have access to outdoors activities like 30 minutes by train, a lot of historical sites, delicious cuisine, and an amazing amazing historical landscapes, and also a supporting community, especially for entrepreneurs, a supporting community that will help you make this journey. So because we're a young ecosystem, we have a lot of startups, and that also reflects on the timing of the ecosystem. So people are more available to spend time with you, and this is kind of throughout the whole city, not just for the people that are coming here and be your peers, but also on a government level. So the government will be available to talk to you. One of the things that an entrepreneur mentioned to me when I started my job roughly 4 years ago, this person is a British citizen, kind of in the wake of the Brexit scene. He said in London, like, it's very hard to get ahead of people, and in Lisbon, people pick up the phone. So I think that picking up the phone example really shows where we are. And not only on let's say the outside of work, this dimension, that city, the Lisbon is doing a good job, but also on kind of a more in a numerical side, we've been attracting historical foreign tech for Portugal, and for Lisbon, this Brexit is turning out an opportunity for us. So we're getting a lot of refugees from Brexit, kind of, I feel, throughout Europe. And we believe that we can have a good mix of startups and corporations in town. So we will see some of the companies that we've attracted over the last couple of years. But in this bullseye, I want to highlight our main verticals. So digital mobility, energy, financial services, creative, and health and well-being verticals. And on the center of the bullseye, you can see some of our most prominent startups, such as Farfetch, Babel, OutSystems, Aptoid, Talkdesk, and Feedzai. 3 of them have already reached the unicorn status. Over the last couple of years, we've been able to attract like major corporations such as Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, Amazon, or Google is actually not in the historical city center of Lisbon, but in the wider metropolitan area of Lisbon. And we believe that this kind of reflects the balance that we want. So we have a lot of like big corporations that they will have the R&D centers here that then can interact with our local startups. And one of our jobs, I'm seeing that I'm almost running out of time, but to finish up, one of our missions, Made of Lisboa, is to, as I said in the beginning, articulate all of these people, all of these stakeholders, and we do it by mapping it out on a digital website, which you can visit, which is www.madeoflisboa.com, where you can see who is who does what, and what is happening on the ecosystem. And we also do this obviously offline. I had here some of the key players in town, but I don't have too much time to go into detail. Startup Lisboa is a public incubator. It was born 10 years ago, so it also kind of reflects the change that the city underwent. BTI, which was one of the first accelerators and is now turned into a private company focused on open innovation. We have Casa do Impacto, which would literally translate as Impact House, which is focused on impact entrepreneurship. Fab Lab Lisboa is a fabrication laboratory. It's actually powered by the city council, and any citizen can come here and use the 3D printers at a very cheap cost. And the FinTech House Lisbon, which is important for us as it kind of reflects that we're getting more density in our ecosystem as we're being able to have like details and specific industry-oriented initiatives. There's also a co-work, last but not least, Village Underground that caters for the creative industries. Our big project that's coming up, it's called Hub Criativo do Beato. It's a former army equipment that if it's occupied at full reach, will be able to overtake Station F as the biggest startup campus in Europe. It's going to have, it's going to be massive. I think the co-working scene will be for 3,000 people. There's already 4 companies that are moving in. And it's also going to cater to the local community. So it's going to have daycare services, restaurants. It already has a place where people can buy fresh products. So it's not just like a tech ghetto, it's also for the citizens here. And to end up, last year during COVID was quite hard to organize events. Still, we had a window in September where we organized the Entrepreneurship Week of Lisbon. It was very challenging, but it's also very, very, very satisfying to see that the community, our ecosystem, said present and helped us organize an event that had over 100 events. They're all free for the citizens to take advantage. They're organized and curated by the community. So it's something that leaves us very proud. And the last event, as obviously, is the Web Summit, as I mentioned this year. I mean, in 2020, we had a digital exclusive version. We're hoping that for 2021, we can have at least a hybrid session or a hybrid model, depending on the pandemic. And if you guys do come here, we'd be welcome. We'll be very happy to show you around and connect you to our key players and show you a good time. So that's me. I hope I didn't overextend too much, Catherine. I left on the chat. If anybody wants to connect, feel free to, and we can have a conversation afterwards.